Welcome back to the final and the last session of literary translation. We stopped last time on this slide talking about assessment and evaluation in literary translation education. Criteria for evaluation or evaluating translation quality. Assessing literary translation requires nuanced criteria that go beyond simple accuracy. Evaluators must consider multiple dimensions, including semantic accuracy, whether the translation conveys the meaning of the original, stylistic appropriateness, whether the translation captures the tone, register, and the voice of the original, and the readability, whether the translation works as a compelling literature in the target language. Additional factors include consistency, cultural sensitivity, and whether translation successfully achieves its intended purpose for its target audience. Uh, Different audiences require different approaches. Now let's move to the second slide, talking about self-assessment and peer feedback. Effective translation education emphasizes self-assessment and peer feedback as crucial components of learning. Students develop critical self-awareness by reviewing their own work and identifying strengths and our strengths and weaknesses and articulating their translation decisions. Peer feedback provides multiple perspectives, helping students see alternative approaches and understand how different readers experience their translations. Structured peer review activities where students provide constructive criticism using established criteria prepare them for professional contexts where editors and reviewers will evaluate their work. Learning to receive criticism constructively is crucial. Professional translators must accept editorial feedback, consider reviewer suggestions, and revise their work based on other input. Now let's go to talk about portfolio development and reflective practice. Translation portfolios allow students to compile their best work, demonstrating growth and the capability to potential employers or graduate programs. More importantly, maintaining a portfolio engages reflective practice. Students document their translation process, explain their decisions, and reflective on what they've learned. This metacognitive dimension and essential for developing expertise as it transforms experience into conscious understanding. Reflective writing helps students to develop their translation physiology and prepares them to articulate and defend their choices professionally. When publishers question translation decisions or reviewers criticize choices, translators must explain their reasoning. Practicing this explanation during educational develops confidence and clarity. Now, let's move to talk about some resources for students. Recommended readings. Jeremy Monday, Introducing Translation Studies, theories and appliances, a comprehensive overview of translation theory, providing essential theoretical foundations. Lawrence Vinotti, The Translators in Visibility and the Translation Studies Reader, influential works on translation ethics, politics, and practice. Jane Dillesley, Judith Wordsworth, translators through history, historical perspective on translation practices, and the translator's evolving role. Susan Bassett, translation studies, foundational text covering key concepts and approaches in translation studies. These successes provide a theoretical grounding that informs practical work. Their theory isn't separate from practice. It helps you understand what you're doing, make informed choices, and articulate your decisions. Reading widely in translation theory makes you a more thoughtful, sophisticated translator. Now let's move to online databases and corpora. UNESCO Index Translation international bibliography of translations tracking translated works worldwide, parallel texts, various online resources providing source texts alongside translations for comparison and study, translation journal, online publication featuring articles, resources, and discussions about translation, pros.com, professional translation community with forums, resources, and terminology databases. Now let's move to talk about that these online resources democratize access to professional knowledge. You do not need to be affiliated with a major university or live in a translation hub to access expensive resources and connect with professional translators worldwide. Use these tools actively throughout your translation education and career. Now let's move to professional organizations and workshops. American Literary Translators Association, ALTA, ALTA, professional organization offering conferences, mentoring, and community. International Federation of Translation, FIT, global organization connecting translation professionals worldwide. PEN America Translation Committee, supporting literary translators through grants, advocacy, and community building, summer translation workshops. Various university and organization offer intensive workshops for developing translation skills. Uh, Professional involvement is crucial. Joining organizations, attending conferences, participating in workshops connects you to the translation community, provides a continuing education, and builds professional networks that lead to work opportunities and collaboration. Do not study translation in isolation. Engage actively with the professional community. Now let's go to the summary. The transformative power of literary translation, bridging cultures. Literary translation serves as a vital bridge connecting cultures, enabling all readers to access literary masterpieces from around the world and fostering cross-cultural understanding that's increasingly essential in our globalized world. Now let's move to talk about expanding horizons. Through translation, readers expand their literary horizons, encountering diverse narrative traditions, philosophical perspectives, and the ways of understanding human experiences that would otherwise remain inaccessible. You discover that the narrative doesn't have to allow Western conventions, that poetry can work in radically different ways across traditions, that profound questions about human existence are explored differently in different cultural contexts. Now let's go for empowering students. Translation education empowers students as future translators and cultural ambassadors, equipped with skills to contribute meaningful to global literary exchange. You're not just learning a technical skill, you're preparing to play a role in cultural transmission and cross-cultural understanding. Now let's move to lifelong learning. Translation encourages lifelong learning as each new text presents unique challenges requiring ongoing development of linguistic, cultural, and artistic competencies. You never master translation completely. There is always more to learn, new challenges to navigate, new problems requiring creative solutions. Now let's move to creative engagement. Literary translation combines analytical rigor with creative artistry, offering intellectually and artistically fulfilling work that contributes to cultural enrichment. This combination of analysis and creativity makes a translation appealing to people who do not want to choose between intellectual and artistic work. Now let's go to talk about the senses of translation rewards. The study or practice of literary translation offer profound rewards, the satisfaction of solving complex linguistic puzzles, the joy of creative expression, and the meaningful contribution to cross-cultural communication. As translators navigate between languages and cultures, they play a crucial role in making world literature accessible, preserving cultural heritage and enriching both source and target cultures. The skills developed through translation study, critical thinking, cultural awareness, linguistic precision, and creative problem solving are valuable far beyond translation itself, preparing students for diverse careers and enriching their engagement with literature, language, and culture throughout their lives. So whether or not you become a professional translator, translation education develops the capacities that serve you in countless contexts. It makes you a better reader, a more sophisticated thinker, a more cultural aware person, and a more effective communicator across difference. These are valuable human capacities worth developing. Now let's go to presentation material for students, slide deck or slide deck outline. This comprehensive presentation provides students with complete learning resource covering both theoretical foundations and the practical applications of literary translation. The structure progresses logically from fundamental concepts through specific challenges to practical strategies and resources. This isn't just information delivery, it's a careful designed learning experience that builds from foundations to advanced applications. We begin with definitions and theory because you need conceptual frameworks before tackling practical work. We then examine specific genres and challenges because you need to understand what you will face. We have now provided strategies and resources because you need tools to address challenges. Now let's go to talk about the theoretical framework. Introduction to translation theories, key concepts, and the historical context, genre-specific challenges, detailed exploration of translation, poetry, drama, and prose fiction, practical applications, case studies, translation strategies, and real-world examples, professional development, resources assessment, methods, and career guidance. Interactive professional development. Resources assessment methods and career guidance that support your professional development beyond this course. Learning translation doesn't end with coursework, it's lifelong professional development. Now let's go to interactive activities. The presentation incorporates various interactive elements designed to engage students actively in the learning process. translation exercises, short passages for students to translate, followed by group discussion of difficult approaches and solutions, comparative analysis, examining multiple translations of the same source text to understand different translators' choices, group discussions, structured conversions about ethical dilemmas, theoretical debates, and practical challenges in translation, problem-solving workshops, collaborative work on particularly challenging translation problems, encouraging creative thinking and peer learning. Some translation problems seem unsolvable individually, but yield to collaborative brainstorming, multiple perspectives, generate more solutions than any individual could discover alone. Before and after translation examples. Visual comparisons showing sources texts alongside translations with annotations highlighting specific translation decisions, challenges overcome, and effects achieved. These examples illustrate abstract concepts concretely, helping students understand how theory applies in practice. When you can point to specific words and explain why the translator chose this word over alternatives, theory becomes tangible rather than abstract. Now let's go to cultural context images. Cultural context images, photographs, and illustrations providing cultural context for texts being discussed, helping students understand the cultural knowledge translators must possess, visual materials depicting historical periods, geographical locations, cultural practices, and social contexts enrich understanding of how culture shapes literature and translation. Images make cultural context vivid and memorable. Seeing traditional Japanese architecture helps you understand how space functions in Japanese literature. Seeing historical photographs helps you understand the visual world source texts reference. Now let's move to the conclusion and the call to action. Embrace translation as a vital pursuit. Literary translation is simultaneously creative, scholarly, and culturally vital work. It requires and develops multiple forms of intelligence, linguistic, cultural, analytical, and artistic. By choosing it, study and practice translation, you join a long tradition of culture mediators who have enriched world literature and enabled cross-cultural dialogue. Your work as translator will contribute to global understanding and cultural preservation. This isn't hyperbole. Translators genuinely shape how cultures understand each other. This into hyperbole translators genuinely shape how cultures understand each other and which literatures survive and flourish. In choosing translation, you're choosing work that matters beyond personal satisfaction, work that contributes to cultural richness and cross-cultural empathy our world desperately needs. Now let's move to develop your skills continuously. Translation mastery develops over time through consistent practice, study, and reflection. Commit to ongoing skill development. Read widely in multiple languages. Study translation theory. Practice regularly. Seek feedback and learn from both successes and failures. Join translation communities. Attend workshops and build relationships with other translators who can support your growth and with whom you might collaborate professionally. Now, let's go to engage actively with global literary culture. As a translator, you have the privilege and the responsibility of shaping how texts and the cultures are understood across linguistic boundaries. Approach this work with humility, curiosity, and the commitment to ethical practice. Read translated literary. Translated literature, support translation initiatives, advocate for translators, recognition, and fair compensation and contribute to making world literature accessible to all through your own translation work, through advocacy, through supporting institutions that promote translation. Your contribution helps building a richer, more inclusive global literacy or literary culture. Now let's go to your journey begins now. The skills and knowledge you've gained through this presentation provide a foundation for your translation journey, but they are just the beginning. Literary translation is a lifelong practice of learning, creativity, and the cultural engagement. Each text you translate will present new challenges and opportunities for growth. Um, Now let's go to take action, take what you've learned and applied. Begin translation starts or begin translating. Start with short messages. Share your work with peers. Seek mentorship from experienced translators. Read voraciously in both your source and target languages. Study translations you admire and learn from them. Most importantly, trust in your growing abilities while remaining open to continued learning. Confidence and humility must coexist. Trust that you can make good decisions while recognizing you will continue improving. This balanced mindset sustains professional development. Remember that translation is not about achieving perfection, but about making thoughtful, informed choices that serve both the original text and your readers. Every translator brings unique perspectives, experiences, and sensibilities to their work. Your voice as a translator matters. Your particular combination of linguistic knowledge, cultural understanding, literary sensitivity, and personal perspective creates a distinctive translator voice. Do not try to eliminate yourself from your work. Bring your full self to translation while serving the source text faithfully. So the world needs skilled thoughtful literary translators who can bridge linguistic and cultural divides with sensitivity and creativity. By developing your translation abilities, you equip yourself to contribute to global culture in meaningful ways, introducing readers to new voices, preserving literary heritage, and fostering the cross-cultural understanding our interconnected world desperately needs. We live in an era of increasing global connection, but also significant misunderstanding and conflicts. Literature and translation contribute to mutual understanding, not by erasing difference, but by helping us encounter difference empathetically, seeing through others' eyes, and recognizing our common humanity despite cultural specificity. Uh, so begin your translation journey today. Read, practice, translate, and contribute to world literature. Do not wait for permission, perfect conditions, or complete confidence. Start now with whatever resources and skills you have. So, Fana, thank you for your attention and engagement throughout this comprehensive exploration of literary translation. We've covered extensive ground from theoretical foundations through practical challenges to professional strategies and resources. You now possess foundational knowledge and practical tools for engaging with literary translation as or at a sophisticated level. This presentation has given you a solid foundation, but your real education begins with the practice. Use what you've learned actively and immediately translate, reflect on your practice, seek feedback, continue learning. Literary translation is challenging work. It requires linguistic precision, cultural knowledge, literary sensitivity, and creative problem solving, but it's also deeply rewarding work intellectually, simulating artistically, fulfilling, and culturally significant. I hope this presentation has not only informed you about literary translation, but also um inspired you to engage with this vital practice, whether you become a professional translator or simply a more sophisticated reader of translated literature. The knowledge and perspectives you've gained will enrich your engagement with language, literature, and culture. The world needs thoughtful, skilled literary translators who can bridge cultures with sensitivity and creativity. I hope some of you will pursue this path, contributing your unique voices to the ongoing project of making world literature accessible across linguistic boundaries. Go forth and read with new eyes, analyze with theoretical frameworks, um, practice with dedication, and contribute meaningfully to global literary culture. Your education in literary translation has begun. May it be a lifelong journey of discovery, creativity, and meaningful cultural contribution. Thank you for your commitment to this vital work and best wishes for your continuing the translation journey.